Sills! Happy Friday to you. Here we are, 41 days until the start of training camp. 41 days. Bunch of teams start on July 27th. Here we are, man. 41 days. We're almost inside a month for the start of training camp in the NFL. I actually think that two teams, I forget who's in the Hall of Fame game this year, but two teams start a week previous to what the Eagles do on the 27th. So we are just like 3 weeks out from the start of the National Football season. Last night I saw the rings for the Kansas City Chiefs last night. Man, they look good. I wonder what the Eagles NFC second place too soon. Hey, it's Friday. We all want to be in a good mood, right? I get it. Too soon? Yeah, you know. What would you do if you were on that Eagle team and you were handed an NFC championship ring? What would you do with that ring? You know, I actually, you know what? I listened to, and I was talking with the guys on Sports Take today. Is that an accomplishment? Oh, I think it is. I think those NFC championship rings, I think it's a wonderful achievement. There's no failure in this thing. Okay? It's how you perceive failure. You know what failure is? 4 wins. Not everybody wins the last game of the year. Eagles didn't have a failure season. They had an incomplete season, which was a great one. Okay? And this is not putting your name on the test. Okay? This is just not getting the grade that you needed. And it still was a high grade. Sileo, are you compromising? Look, man, I'm not that guy that believes the championships define when it comes to what a team's success is. I think consistency. I do think winning has to do it. We're going to talk about that here in a minute because it is a great conversation on how we look at winning. I'm getting soft. That sounds it a little bit. Look, I'm with you. You got to win the titles to validate it. Yeah, maybe that's more it. The Eagles didn't validate the season last year. Okay? We're going to talk about it here in a minute. I actually think this is a big season for Nick Sirianni. Hey, do you guys feel this way that I do when it comes to NFL coaches or college coaches, managers, anyone? Don't you feel that every coach is on a year-to-year basis, unless you do something spectacular like Bill Belichick did, where he won all those titles, that you don't really get hall passes every year? I think coaches versus players, I think you're under the gun more. If Nick Sirianni has a horrible season and that team goes 8-9, he'll be fired. Whereas if Jalen Hurts goes 8-9, he's not getting fired. Injuries, poor season, guys not playing up to expectations. It happens. It happens everywhere, and it happens a lot of times to a lot of teams that have had great success. Okay? I mean, at the end of the day here, Nick Sirianni, if this is a big season for Jalen Hurts, and we're going to define Jalen Hurts because he's playing against really great football teams and quarterbacks this year, I think this has to also be an indictment on the coach. We're going to find out a lot about Hurts and Sirianni this year. And hey, this is not negative either way. This is just a comment. I think I'm going to find out what kind of coach he truly is. Because you know one thing that they haven't had since that 2-5 start? They haven't had adversity. They have not had adversity. Dosa goes, we'll win 12 games. I picked you to go 12-5. I think you are a 12-5 team. Okay? I think you are. Jeff Bone goes great. It's Friday. We appreciate you coming aboard. Before we get into the topics, I do want to say this about Shohei Ohtani. What a damn shame he's in baseball. If that guy was in the NFL, they would be parading this guy from Maine to California to Washington to Florida. What a superstar athlete. I have never in my entire time playing college, professional, covering sports, being a broadcaster, TV, radio, I have never in my life seen an athlete like this. He's 6-2 on the season, 3.29 ERA. Last night hit a 443-foot bomb last night. He's got 22 bombs, which leads baseball. He's 6-2, and he's on pace for 15 wins. He's a modern-day Babe Ruth. I have never seen anything like this. I thought the best player I've ever seen in my life was Barry Bonds. Second was probably Ricky Henderson. I got a chance to cover those guys in the Bay Area. Get this, I got a chance to cover Henderson and Bonds at the same time in their prime. This thing here is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen anything like it. And he's a stud, throws the ball 100 miles an hour. Okay? Unbelievable. 6'4". When that guy becomes a free agent and he starts parading around, if you think Bryce Harper's $344 million, what do you think the price tag is going to be for Shohei Ohtani? What would you put a price tag on for Ohtani when he's a free agent in 2 years? He's hitting 301, like Yale said. What do you think the price tag is? If Bryce Harper's 344, and if Manny Machado's 310, and some of these other guys, like Mookie Betts is a $300 million guy, how much is Shohei Ohtani worth? 500 million? Hey, I see our internet's going in and out a little bit here. Please stay with us. We appreciate it. 500 million? Shohei Ohtani's going to get $500 million. He's going to be the first $50 million a year baseball player. Would you not? Hey, if you had a guy who could win you 15, potentially 17 ball games a year and hit you 45 bombs, shit, I'd pay him $350 million for the 45 bombs. This guy might make $600 million. I mean, he has to be the most expensive contract in professional sports, but you'd never know it. This would be equal to Jalen Hurts playing corner and being your starting quarterback and a star at both. Like being the best pitcher in baseball, he's in the conversation. And then being the best hitter, that would be like Hurts being the best quarterback. Being Mahomes and being Sauce Gardner. That's what it would be like. How much do you think you'd be paying Jalen? 50? You'd be paying him $100 million a year. Dude, that guy's going to make a killing. Holy shit, man. 22 bombs. He's on pace for 50 homers. Hey, Tone, think it. Guys, Yale, think of this. He's on pace for 50 homers and 15 wins. Man, I've never seen anything like it in my entire life. People in baseball, their media sucks. People don't cover baseball because it's more localized and regionalized. I get it. But what a story. All right. Enough with that. I'm going to do something here, and I'm going to make a pitch for somebody to be one of the next candidates to be in your Eagles Hall of Fame. This is coming from the heart. I have got a candidate in the next couple of years. He's got to retire, I would assume, first. For him to be considered a Philadelphia Eagle Hall of Famer. Are you ready? I'm not going to name the name yet. Here is a candidate for the Philadelphia Eagles' future consideration to be a black jacket holder and a Eagle Hall of Famer. This man is fourth all time in Eagle history in passing yards with 16,811. Completions, 1,562 is third. 113 touchdown passes, which is fourth. Most attempts in Eagle history. Owns the number one, 607 in 2019, and did it again in 2016. Most completions in franchise history. 388. And then second, he also owns in 379. Damn, these are some pretty good statistics. Most passing yards in franchise history. Number one, 4,039 in 2019. Fifth all-time single-season passing number, 3,782 in 2016. Most TD passes, 33 in 17. And then did it again in 16. And owns a Super Bowl ring. For consideration for the Eagle Hall of Fame, Carson Wentz. Why not? He owns just about every record you own. And he's got a ring, unlike your boy. How would you not consider this an Eagle Hall of Famer? Is that not Eagle Hall of Fame material? He's got a ring. Helped you win the Super Bowl. Was instrumental in it. Fourth all-time in passing yards. Fourth all-time in TD passing yards. Most attempts and completions in the history of the franchise, twice. Most passing yards in the history of the franchise in a single season, and the fourth most. Most TD passes in a single season. Jalen Hurts will never throw 33 touchdown passes. Get that out of your head. That ain't happening in an RPO offense. Helped you win a Super Bowl. Does Carson Wentz deserve to have consideration for being an Eagle Hall of Famer? Yes or no? And are you going to say it because you don't like him? Because statistically, fundamentally, he was also an all-pro for you. And you could make the argument that he's one of your greatest signal callers in the history of your franchise. Jalen has none of those records. Not even remotely close to those records. Nothing remotely close to those records. Nothing. Zero. This guy threw the ball 607 twice. Your guy threw it 428. He'll never throw for 600 yards or 600 attempts. It's not an RPO offense. Statistically, he'll never get there. Does Carson Wentz belong? Honestly, I'm not just trying to. Does Carson Wentz deserve consideration to be a Hall of Famer one day? Once his career's finished and consideration, would you consider him Hall of Fame, or is the hatred for the guy too much? T.O. you can't put in because he had 1.5 years. No, Wentz. Wentz has a ring. Jalen doesn't. Wentz actually has an NFC title ring and a Super Bowl ring. Actually, in theory, Carson Wentz is more accomplished than Jalen as an equal quarterback right now. Now, long way to go for Jalen. It's not fair. So we're not really putting that standard there. But, I mean, that's a fact. He's a pretty accomplished quarterback in your franchise. This is not really, I'm not really kind of like kidding a little bit. I'm really actually like, What's the problem here? You put lesser guys in. I mean, Randall doesn't have the kind. Well, Randall did put up some pretty good numbers there. He did. His postseason numbers aren't anything either to write home about. I mean, Kevin, go stop it. What do you mean? Stop what? What's wrong? I'll tell you what you guys don't like. You guys don't like me bringing up facts when it comes to Wentz. You really don't. You hate this guy so much that it blinds you on what he did here as a football player, that you can't see through your hatred for this guy, and that you revere Jalen more. And because I'm doing this, you think it's a rip on Jalen. That's what's in your minds right now. This has nothing to do with Jalen. This is everything to do with a guy who pretty much performed here. Hey, did it finish well? No. Did Randall finish well here? No. It was a train wreck. Did McNabb? No. He didn't finish well here either. All three of those guys you ran out of town. You ran Randall out of town, you ran McNabb out of town, and you ran Wentz out of town. So don't make it sound like those other two guys you didn't treat like shit on the way out the door either. You did. Treated those guys like shit too, man. Every one of those guys now have to come back, and everybody's kissing up, and everything is cool now. Well, maybe that'll be the case one day for Wentz. I doubt it. Just an interesting thought, again, that I had when we were talking about Carson Wentz, because yesterday we were talking about Wentz working with John Gruden. And I said he's got to go to a place with hard coaching. I hope he lands in Jacksonville. Or if it's me, Seattle. You know, John Gruden thinks that Carson Wentz is going to land in Seattle. Thinks he's going to land in Seattle. What's wrong with these numbers? Look, no one wants to admit it. I still love Carson Wentz, and I think that Carson deserves consideration, but he might not get in. Oh, no, he's not getting in. They'll never put him in because they would think it would be an indictment on Jalen. That's why. Okay? If Jalen fails, he'll get in. That's what will happen. If Jalen, over the next 5-6 years, fails, Carson Wentz will get in. Because then it'll be more of an indictment that Wentz wasn't really that bad. See, right now, everyone's looking and very excited about Jalen Hurts, which diminishes anything that Wentz has done. I'm sorry I'm talking to you in reality here, but it's true. If Jalen Hurts shits the bed, Wentz will be accentuated more than what he did here. It will. But if Jalen continues his success, they'll put this dude in a rearview mirror and they'll never talk about him ever again. They'll erase his name like he was Moses. Okay? Every one of you that's talking like crazy right now loved the guy 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Hey, look how fast that could turn on Hurts, too. That's what I said about Sirianni. You guys all in love with Sirianni. Well, he comes up with a 5-win team. I'll show you how fast that changes. That'll change overnight. That's what sports is. And by the way, I don't have a problem with that. You guys pay season tickets. You pay game tickets. You buy the merch. You do all that. You expect winners. Not a problem. Not a problem with it. You look at Wentz as a failure. Not really. Pretty impressive numbers as a Philadelphia Eagle. It really is. He should be considered. It'll depend, once again, on how well Jalen Hurts does and how he'll be looked at years removed from this time as an Eagle quarterback. Right now, it's too soon. Jalen had a spectacular year that absolutely hammers on everything that was wrong with Wentz out the door. I completely agree with you. Time will tell. Time will tell. If Jalen Hurts will, how many people think that Jalen Hurts will throw for more than 16,000 yards in his Eagle career? How many people think that Jalen Hurts will throw for more than 115 touchdowns in his Eagle career? Pretty good numbers, man. Pretty good numbers. And by the way, it's 2-to-1 interception ratio, 113 to 50 picks. Not bad, 89.2. Yeah, time will tell. Fisher says he never liked Wentz's attitude. I don't know what that has. Well, I'm sure you don't like Aaron Rodgers' attitude. Hurts will double that. So that means that you think when he's all said and done, Alexander, he has more passing yards than McNabb. So hey, Alexander, so you think he becomes the all-time leading passer in Eagle history and passes McNabb? I think McNabb's either at 32,000 or 36, somewhere in there. So you think he throws for almost 40,000 yards? Okay. All right. 40,000 yards. That means over 10 years, he'd have to average 4,000 yards a year. So you think he's going to throw for 4,000 yards, 40,000 yards. Interesting. Like I said, so you think he's playing 15 years. Think about what you just said there, Alexander. So for the next 10 years, he has to average 4,000 yards to get to 40. McNabb's like either 32 or 36,000. You think he throws for that many yards? I don't. I think he throws for more yards than what Wentz did. I do. Hey, Tony, 36 is absolutely 36. It's more passing yards than Troy Aikman. It's more passing yards than Joe Namath. Absolutely, man. There's no shame in that, especially when you're running. He'll probably run for 10,000 rushing yards too. You know what? How about this? I got a better question for you. Tone, maybe you chime in. You think there's a better chance that Jalen Hurts is the all-time leading rusher in Eagle history or the all-time leading passer in Eagle history when it comes to all-time records on the team? I don't think you have a 10,000-yard rusher in Eagle history. I think it's Shady McCoy. I think he's at like 8,000. Okay? I think he's at like 8,000 yards or something like that. He's not passing Shady. I don't know, man. 800. Doesn't 800 yards over the next 10 years sound more doable than 4,000 passing yards? I think it does, especially in an RPO offense and what he runs. So Jalen Hurts is going to be your all-time leading rusher and all-time leading passer in Eagle history. Okay. All right, man. Okay. Starting it off, man. 12K. So he's going to have more rushing yards than OJ. Oh, okay. This is a good Friday, man. Good Friday to you. All right. Let's put something out here on this team as we're now 41 days to the start of training camp. Okay. Do you believe that there are more expectations on this 2023 team than there was on the 2018 Eagle team? The 2018 Eagle team, 9-7, coming off a Super Bowl team. How many wins did you guys have that year? 13? Was that a 13 or 14 win team? I forget. Did that Super Bowl 17 team, did you guys win 13 games or 14 games? Hey, Neil, Shady has 12,000 rushing yards as an Eagle or a career. I don't think he has 12,000 rushing yards. They won 13. Okay, they're 13-3. Thank you, guys. So then they followed up the 2000. Hey, how many people were disappointed in that 2018 team? Here's what happened. They finished second in the NFC East. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you guys will. The 2018 Eagles beat the Bears in the wild card game 15-14. 14, 17, 14. I thought it was a really low scoring. I thought it was a 1 or 2 or 3 point game that you guys beat the Bears. 16, 15, Tony, is that it? That sounds about right. Okay? The double doink. The double doink. Right on. Right on. The double doink. Okay. They win that game. The double doink. I forgot about the double doink. That's right. I think there's more pressure on this team, at least the 2018 team. Eagle team came off of a Super Bowl, and the 2023 team is coming off of a loss. Plus, they just paid the quarterback. Definitely more pressure on 23. I think all of that plays into exactly where we're going here. Okay. Then you guys lost to the Saints in New Orleans. 21-14? No, you would have won. So it had to be 5 or 6 points. I remember if you guys scored that, because we always debate that. If you guys had scored that, you would have beat them because you were driving late. So it's either 5 or 6 points. Like it was either like 20-14 or some shit. Like I think for some reason 20-14 kind of sticks in my mind that you guys lost that divisional game to the Saints. 2014 in New Orleans. That sound right? The Alshon Jeffries drop. I thought it was like 21-14 or some shit like that, right? So they got pretty. I'm not trying to like pull Scabs back here. Hey, I'm not trying to pull Scabs back here or anything. Okay, but here what I'm saying, I'm trying to get to a point here with what we're saying here. So expectations. There's more expectations. Is it because you paid the quarterback? Or do you really believe that you have a better team than those two teams? Hey, the better teams. I mean, seriously, think about it. The 2017 and 2018 Eagles. One team got to the divisional round. One team won the Super Bowl. The 2023 team, we'll find out what they do this year. The 2022 team got all the way to the Super Bowl, won one more game than the Super Bowl champion team. And there were no expectations on that Eagle team last year. Expectations didn't start kicking in for the Eagles until around week 15. You guys didn't have expectations on that team. Well, maybe not week 15. Probably after the big start last year when they won a ton of games out of the gate. People started looking up and going, holy shit, they're winning and they're dominating. Because early on, the first 8 games, I would make this point because, Hurts' injury played a factor in the final backside of the season. The second half of the season wasn't wobbly. You guys really did a great job. But it became wobbly a little at the end because the quarterback got hurt, right? And expectations probably didn't kick in until after the second half of the season when you started seeing how you were killing teams. And you were killing teams. You were dominating everybody in the NFC. So now those expectations have carried into this now season here. And that were there, hey, just take me one last time before we move on to the main topics here. How much expectations on the Eagles was there to repeat? Can you give me can you educate me here a little bit? Were you guys talking repeat? Were you talking repeat? Because I know some of you, like we did with Carson Wentz, you guys like to change history a little bit. Were you guys talking repeat in dynasties? Did you guys think you were going to get back to the Super Bowl again? Some of us were. Okay. So after you won the Super Bowl, the way you beat the Eagles or the way you beat the Patriots, nobody said in 2018 that this team can't go back and win another Super Bowl? You guys dismantled Tom Brady. I thought you were going to go on a run like the Cubs were going to go on a run after they won their World Series. That team was a one-year wonder. That team was a one-year wonder. And, well, not really. They got to the divisional round the second season. Tone says, I felt like we could run it back. Why wouldn't you? You just killed the Patriots. Dude, you didn't beat the Patriots. You beat the Patriots up. We expected to repeat new norm. Absolutely. We're not happy bringing back those old guys. We were not happy bringing back those old guys in 18. Oh, so there was a little bit of was there bigger question marks on the 18 team than there are on this team? I think you got massive question marks on this team. On the defensive side, offensively, I have none. Well, a couple. Coordinator, how's he going to act? Right guard, and the yardage in the backfield. When it comes to the running backs, those are your questions. Those are significant, but they're not like something you can't overcome. All your question marks are clearly on the defense, and what's troubling is they're all up the middle. Your tackles, your linebackers, and your safeties. The heart of the defense has the massive question marks. Now, your edge rushers don't, and your corners don't, which is spectacular. You know, most of the time, it's reversed. How many times you go into a season, man, they're really weak at the corner position, and they don't get to the quarterback. Well, you ain't winning. Okay? You're not winning if you can't rush the passer and defend wideouts in today's NFL. Okay? You're not winning. Everyone has massive question marks. Coaching is a huge question mark. Yeah, that's part of this. I trust Brian Johnson. He made Kyle Trask a Heisman Trophy finalist. I didn't know Brian. Oh, no wonder. So Brian Johnson's a Gator? I didn't know that. How funny. Howie's a Gator. Maybe that's some of the ass I have with Howie, is that he's a Gator. So Brian Johnson's a Gator. Brian Johnson's a Gator? Is that Brian? That's not Brian Johnson, the quarterback. Can't be. Not the Gator court. No, that can't be him. So he's a Gator? Brian Johnson? Killed the Patriots without forcing a punt in the Super Bowl 52. Killed them. Of all the games that the New England Patriots, outside of that Kansas City thing that they had during the regular season, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the living tar out of the Patriots and physically dominated them. I mean, they got killed in that Kansas City game in the regular season, but they got annihilated in that Super Bowl 52. They were annihilated. Because they were beat up front. He was the OC. He was a quarterback at Utah. Okay, now it's starting to come back to me a little bit. All right. So he was a quarterback there, and he was must have been a quarterback coach at Florida. Okay. We gave up 600 yards. Yeah, well, they gave up a shitload too. Sorry, dude. To me, it looked like the Lions were killing the Patriots in that game the entire time. That was my takeaway from it. So the expectations is more on this team. It's got to be because you're paying the quarterback. You are counting on this quarterback to do things, and you have put a ton of pressure on this guy. Okay? And rightfully so. And I think he embraces it. You could never put this kind of pressure on Embiid. He'd fold. You could put this pressure on Harper. He would take it. In that city right now, there's only one guy that could take this kind of pressure. Dude, he's got the weight of the entire community. Because you know this, as quick as he had a great year last year, people will come down on him like a thunderbolt if he fails. They will. That's why my expectations aren't what you guys are saying. If I see here, just to show you, Sills, what's your expectations of Hurts this year? Dude, if he's 3% better than he was a year ago, I'm happy with that. Because that means he's going to be right there for the MVP conversation again. Because if you're expecting a 50% increase in what he did a year ago, you're out of your mind. And you're not being reasonable. Once you're sculpting a sculpture and you're getting down to the fineness of it, and you're chipping away at the very end of it. You're not taking giant hunks out of it. You're trying to smooth it out. You're trying to round it out. You're trying to make it look like a masterpiece. You don't do that by taking chunks out of it. Michelangelo's not looking at the Pietà to take an arm off. He's looking to mold it. He's looking to shape it. That's where Hurts is now. He's got to shape his career. He's got to refine it. He's got to smooth it out. Some of the rough edges. Maybe not running so much. All that small stuff. That's where he is in his career. That's where you think Mahomes is taking another gigantic leap? Mahomes right now is redefining his game. Do you know the best thing to happen to Patrick Mahomes was losing Tyreek Hill? Because now he's not obligated to get the ball to one guy. Now he involves everyone in the offense. And he sees. Do you know that, in my opinion, the reason Mahomes had such a star-studded year a year ago, he saw the game better. He saw the field better. He didn't have superstars out there on the field. He had to get everybody involved to win. Even the smallest guy and the third dude on the wide receiving room. He had to get everyone involved, which means you're more focused. Not having Tyreek Hill in Kansas City made Patrick Mahomes a better quarterback. That's insane. That's insane to say. Usually this is when you got a special player. Well, you got to go get this guy a wide receiver like Dak. You got to go get him a big-time wideout to improve his game. In Kansas City, they did the opposite. They took the best deep threat, maybe in the history of the game, away, and Mahomes got better. How's that possible? You took talent away, and he got better. There's very few dudes that have ever played the quarterback. Brady is a great example of that as well. Brady didn't need superstar wide receivers to win Super Bowls. Maybe in Tampa he did. Not New England. He didn't need superstar wide receivers to win Super Bowls. He never won with one. Peyton Manning did. He needed big-time wideouts. He had 2 Hall of Fame wideouts and won one. I don't know. There's not a chance Peyton Manning could have done the things that he even did in Indianapolis and New England with lesser talent. Not a chance. Not a chance. That's why in that argument, when people say Peyton Manning's a better quarterback, he had Dallas Clark. He had Marvin Harrison. He had Reggie Wayne. Not only that, he had Edgerrin James, and he also had Marshall Faulk. How much more do you need? Quite frankly, if you think about it, Peyton Manning had the same kind of talent around him that Jalen Hurts has around him in Philly. Won 1 Super Bowl. Completely underachieved. Completely underachieved. So did Tony Dungy. 1 Super Bowl? Okay, well, I'm not thinking that that's something that when you put next to Peyton Manning's name, you think he over or underachieved in Indy? One title? Shit, the guy in Pittsburgh had 2. Roethlisberger won 2. Peyton Manning, he's got the same kind of football team that Jalen has in Philly. So Peyton underachieved, but Jalen's going to overachieve. Dude, I think this is going to be a really tough year. Better schedule. By the way, Jalen Hurts last year, and again, not to go back over the Super Bowl stuff, but here, last year, might have been his best chance to win the Super Bowl. You know why? He'll never play a softer schedule ever again. He'll always be playing the top teams in the NFL because we're expecting him, or you are, to win 13 games every year. That's quite expectations. And let's get into the topic now to that, because I did like what Rob was talking about with these guys today. I did. I liked it. And I threw out this. How many people look at Buffalo Bills and think their 4 AFC titles is a failure? Like, is it Super Bowl or bust for the Eagles this year? I like that topic they had. Is it Super Bowl or bust? Do you look at what the Bills did and go, the Bills failed? They won 4 AFC championships in a row. Do you call that a failure? Do you call last year's season a failure? What's success to you? Is it a failure for the Bills? JM, you think it's a failure? Was last year a failure for the Eagles? Be careful how you answer that, because I got a response to it. Was last year a failure? It was a failure for Elway till he won it. Hurts choked when it mattered the most. It's always Super Bowl or bust. Seals, you think there's more pressure on the Eagles this year due to 2 first-rounders? I'm going to get to that here in a second. So, Jalen Hurts was rewarded on failure last year? The Eagles thought it was a success season. They rewarded him. At the time, made him the highest paid player in the league. You're calling it a failure season last year. The Eagles are calling it a success. You don't give a quarterback $50 million a year if you think you had a failure season, do you? JM goes, nobody remembers the runner-up. Well, the Eagles must have. They just gave him $50 million. They rewarded him. They rewarded Lane, restructuring his contract. Mulata. So was the 2022 Eagles season a failure? What's success? What is success? The Bills are failures? You'll never see that again. Team going to 4 Super Bowls in a row. It's not going to happen. Like, ever. Salary cap. The constant turnover in rosters. Unless they expand the roster with another bye, you're really not going to see that. Callie Green calls it progress. They rewarded him for being the franchise quarterback who failed. That's what Dank is saying. They rewarded him for being the franchise quarterback. You mean like Arizona did? They rewarded him, or was he just the next guy up? You guys are calling the Bills a failure. Well, then you must think the Eagles season was a failure, and Jalen was rewarded for a failure year. Can't have it both ways. Call the Bills a suck-ass team and think you guys had a successful season. Which is it? In truth, I think it's a little of both. Follow me here. I think when you're building a football team and you're looking for success, you're right. The Super Bowl is the affirmation and the validation of what your process is and what your culture is. It validates it. There's no question about it. It accentuates all the things that you had been doing, all the hard work, all the culture building, everything. And I do believe that you have to have a Super Bowl in that organization with the same people in the front office so that you can validate what you're saying to players and the people that work in the personnel department and in the administration when it comes to doing cap work, salary cap. I do believe that because there's only you know why organizations fail. I think it's only so far you can go with blind faith. The Sixers are the greatest example of this. See, the Sixers tried to play ego management with the fans. Okay, they tried to give you the same thing the Eagles gave you. Believe in the process. We got a process going on here. We're working as hard as we can to make this a winning environment. We're going to do they can't validate what they're doing with the Sixers. They can't validate it. Most organizations can't validate it because you have to have something to show and to reflect back with muscle memory. See, we won the Super Bowl. Do you know what the Eagles have right now? That is so why the organization has momentum, why it feels the way it does. Because what's the biggest thing that they have since 17? They show everyone in that organization, from the top guy, the owner, to the personnel, to the coaching staff, and all the players. You know what they have proved? They can dig themselves out of a shithole quickly. Incredible. Because you know what you say when you're sitting at your locker? They'll fix it. You know what you say when you're in Philly? If you're a Sixer guy, man, same old shit. That's the difference between the buildings. Same old shit. You're a Sixer guy, same old shit. You're sitting at your stall at the NovaCare Center, you're doing this. Man, we need to stop the run. Don't worry, they'll fix it. And they do. The players look at it. Well, we won the Super Bowl. We're back in one. We had 4 wins 3 years ago. They are able to show their successes and failures as examples of culture. The failures in Philadelphia with the Eagles are as important as the 17 win and the 2023 Super Bowl loss. That's why that place is in a good place right now. That's why they don't want anyone ruffling the feathers or doing anything ridiculous or doing anything that could throw that off. I mean, anything. The Bills are choke artists. Never won, never will. 85 says that. I don't know. I think with Bean and McDermott, well, then again, it's kind of a train wreck right now a little bit. It's kind of a train wreck now. So again, what will be a success this year? Super Bowl or bust? Here's mine. If the Philadelphia, see, here, I think maybe Eagle guys, I think you guys got tired of the Andy Reid thing. Because you know why? I think there's something to this. You guys were in, hey, Sills, we were in contention for the NFC Championship for 5 straight years. We got to one game and we didn't win. And you know what? You had your heart ripped out every year. Yeah, but guess what? Would you rather have that scenario, or would you rather be a team that flounders around like the Cardinals or the Jets? See, to me, I think being in it and constantly being considered a contender every year, I think that's success, especially in a team sport with over 50 guys. If you think you're going to win the Super Bowl every year, there's only been a handful of teams that have won back-to-back Super Bowls. It doesn't happen. So what you got to do is, success to me is constantly being there, but having validated it. I agree with you. You have to validate your process. Got to win one of these. The 17 win is incredibly important. The 2023 loss will be just as important for the players, the organization, the people in the city. Because then you see the winning and the losing. But guess what you are? You're in it. Seals, do you think 2022 was a successful season for the Eagles? It was an exceptionally successful season. Free agents hit. The economic money was a success. The second-round pick looks like a franchise quarterback. The coach looks like he's the right selection. The assistants all went on to be head coaches, the coordinators. How do you not look at that as a success? Oh, because you didn't validate it. Fair enough. Fair enough. I get it. But you validated your process in 17. And you showed me something else. You know, we may have a down year. We may have some situation go bad for 18 months. It's kind of what that whole thing was that translated into that 4 wins. See, in a team sport, again, you're not going to win every year. You're just not. You should, hey, those of you that go like this, you're saying we shouldn't have the Super Bowl mentality or bust mentality. No, because here's what I tell everyone. You know, I spoke to the Miami Hurricane guys about 3 years ago about this. And I told them this. I asked people in the room, I go, how many people want to go to a bowl game this year? You know what everyone said? They all put their hand up. I looked over at Mario, and you know what I said to him? You guys need to change your attitude. That's a failure attitude. Everyone, one of the captains on the team goes, why is that a failure attitude? I said, because if you're thinking about going to a bowl game, you're not thinking about going undefeated. You got to think about going undefeated. Knowing full well you may not get there. But then you'll learn to live with greatness, and you'll be in the competition for a national title. If you're rooting for the Sun Bowl, you're going to go to the shit bowl. You can't set your expectations that low. Mario's laughing. And he goes, he's right. A bowl game? There's 36 of them. Who gives a shit? They pick teams that are 5 and 7 now. That's the problem in the building with those kids. You start talking shit to me about a bowl game? Half those 95% of those bowl games, I told those kids, you could send my ass home. I ain't going. I'm not playing in the Frito-Lay Bowl or some blue turf bowl. I could give a shit about that. I'm playing for a national championship. I'm playing for a game that matters. Some stupid-ass Bahama Bowl ain't on my agenda. I'm not playing for some Bahama Bowl. That ain't working for me. Kids all got it. Okay? Kids all got it. The Eagles have a high expectation because they do believe, like you do, Super Bowl or bust. But their process has been validated, guys. It's been validated. They won the Super Bowl. They've been to another NFC title game within 5 years. 6 years. They've done it. They got hey, I'll tell you what. So let's take a look at this, for instance. Last 6 years, 2 NFC titles, a Super Bowl. What is it, 3 division titles? I mean, 1 4-win season, which was a train wreck. I get it. Fired the coach. Still. San Francisco wishes they had that shit. San Francisco can't get out of their own way. They're doing a better job of it. But once again, San Francisco does the ultimate. You know what that is? They're not prepared a quarterback. Ever. They haven't been prepared. The 49ers haven't been prepared at quarterback since Montana. No wonder they made a run at Rodgers. It's being reported now the Patriots and the 49ers the Patriots and the 49ers made a run at Aaron Rodgers. 49ers needed to do everything they possibly could to get Aaron Rodgers. But you know, at the end of the day, why they couldn't? Because they couldn't afford him. Because they got multiple positions where they're paying guys, and they got to sign Nick Bosa to a contract, and they've got that anchor around their neck known as Trey Lance. They're not going to be able to do anything at quarterback until they jettison that guy. They won't be able to do anything. They can't bring in quality free agents. Shit, they were kicking the tires last year on bringing out of retirement Ben Roethlisberger. That's how bad it was last year. Then they struck gold with Brock Purdy. Now, guess what you're going into the season? You're hoping Purdy is what he is. You're in the same position the Eagles were in a year ago with Jalen Hurts. Okay? That's where they are. They're not sure. They're not sure what they have in Purdy yet. They're pretty sure what they got in Trey. You know what that is? A project that's just not ready. Hey, Trey Lance, Anthony Richardson, all those guys. Oh, shit, man, I'll make a point to you here. Trey Lance will be lucky to be better than Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota's a better player. The Niners would have been better to bring him in as backup than Sam Darnold because it kind of fits the system up there. Dude, Trey Lance one day may be a Colin Kaepernick type of guy. But you know what I see? Can I tell you what I see Trey Lance as right now? Trey Lance is a worse version of Taysom Hill. And Taysom Hill, guess what he's doing now? He's a halfback in New Orleans. Maybe that's what they should do to Trey. Figure out another role for him. Since Kyle Shanahan's such a brilliant guy, maybe make another role for him because he ain't a quarterback. Marcus Mariota is a better quarterback than Trey Lance. Marcus Mariota is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. The backup quarterback in Philadelphia might be better than anything the San Francisco 49ers have at quarterback in the room there. Think of that. They may have a better quarterback backing up Jalen Hurts. He's better than Sam Darnold. He's better than Lance. And I think he's probably better than Brock Purdy right now. What's Purdy done that makes me go, he's sensational? Because he went on a win streak. So did Baker Mayfield. Making it sound like, hey, Purdy, I don't know. You don't know if Brock Purdy's the guy. They haven't figured it out. They have no plan at quarterback. And when you tell me Sam Darnold's a plan, and the last player taken in last year's draft is your plan, okay, you'll be in the same position. You'll win a ton of games in the weak-ass NFC. You'll get into a critical game, and what will you do? You'll stub your toe. That's Kyle Shanahan. End of story. Niner, I hate to tell you that. You got a heck of a roster, and you're wasting it. That football team is in trouble again because they haven't figured it out. It's June 16th, dude. It's 41 days to the start of training camp. And you haven't figured that shit out, you're late. It's over. So if Purdy gets hurt or he's not ready, who are you starting? Sam Darnold? How's that a plan? How in the world is that a plan? If Jalen goes down, I think Marcus Mariota can hold the fort down for a month. They may go 2-2. That's okay. In the NFC, you could probably weather that. The Cowboys got through last year. What were they, 4-1? With Cooper Rush. Marcus Mariota is better than Cooper Rush. Okay? He's better. And you're going to try to sit here and tell me, Yeah, well, that's why when guys like Pete Prisco or some of these guys, the national guys, go, the 49ers are the second best team in the NFL. How could they be the second best team in the NFL and they don't have a quarterback on June 16th? How in the world can you say that you have the second best team in the NFL and you don't have a signal caller? Okay? Hurts had all that talent around him and barely put up 22 passing TDs. Yeah, but they put up 14 wins with those TDs. They put up 14 wins. Dude, stop. 22 touchdowns? He had 22 touchdowns and 6 picks and 14 wins. I don't know. Is that bad? I mean, where am I missing this? 2 wide receivers are over 1,000 yards. Hey, I'll tell you one thing that they did, or what he did, and his numbers may not look great. And here's a prime example. Look at me. I'm defending Jalen Hurts here. Tone, you might have to mark the tape here. Did Jalen Hurts throw for 4,000 yards and 35 touchdowns? No. But you know what he did do? Every guy that was a skilled football player on that football team was on their way or did have a career year. The 2 wideouts had career years. The tight end was on his way to having a career year. And the running back had a career year. I don't know. That, to me, is making people around you better. Every single guy that was a skilled player had a career year. And Jalen didn't throw for 4,000 yards. You're right. He only had 22 touchdowns. Everyone else around him had better seasons than he did. You're right. But I think that's what it's about. Okay? That's what I think it's about. Eli Manning was an elite but has 2 Super Bowls. Hey, Jim Plunkett. Jim Plunkett has 2 Super Bowl wins. His are MVPs and his last name is Manning. Okay? Josh Allen is not a running back. Josh Allen is a skilled football player. Okay? Skilled. All right. I want to show you more of the lack of respect that you're getting for your players here. I think you're going to be stunned here. Here it is right here. And I couldn't believe I got this list from someone here. And this is a lack of respect here for the Philadelphia Eagles here. Want to hit on that. Hour number 2. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.